Ian cheats death in a hospital bed, but instead of resting, he vanishes into the night. His friends think he's recovering, laughing under the sun, while he's spilling blood in secret fight clubs where money reigns and bodies break. By the end, Ian isn't just fighting to survive. He's being recruited into the major leagues of violence, where the real monsters are waiting. But to understand how Ian ended up on this path of no return, we need to rewind the story. The story kicks off in a pretty ordinary classroom. A teacher's handing out questionnaires, and one boy, Ian, stares at his paper like it just asked him for his Netflix password. He's supposed to write about his family, but instead of cute mom and dad stories, he's scribbling about fear, drinking, and broken trust. His pencil hovers, then stops. He knows some truths aren't safe to share. A curious classmate peeks over his shoulder, asking if his family is really that bad. Ian freezes, remembers the second grade when honesty only made things worse, and quickly crumples the paper. To everyone else, he plays it off as a mistake. Later, standing in front of the class, he fakes the perfect picture, a supportive family, a happy birthday trip. But inside, he's remembering nights alone, meals ruined by his dad's rage, and birthdays spent cleaning up messes. He smiles for the crowd, but that smile wavers into pain. Yep, the Oscar goes to Ian. Time skips forward, and Ian's grown up. Now he's sitting in a university interview, grades climbing from rock bottom to the top. The interviewer raises an eyebrow, pointing out his average still isn't good enough. Ian counters with calm confidence, saying he started late but grew faster than anyone else. His determination impresses, and against the odds, he passes. He steps outside, crying for the first time in years. Finally, he believes happiness is within reach. Cue motivational background music. But the dream shatters the moment he gets home. His apartment's wrecked, his father cornered by loan sharks. They leave after delivering one chilling warning: don't end up like him. Ian's heart sinks. The tuition he fought for? A drop in the ocean compared to his dad's mountain of debt. His father sits broken, but Ian, burning with both pity and frustration, tells him to get a job. Then he's alone, staring at numbers that feel impossible. Hope drains, but he vows to keep fighting, because apparently coffee and sheer stubbornness are his new life partners. His days blur into endless shifts, loading boxes in freezing snow, juggling multiple jobs, barely sleeping. Yet his body refuses to collapse, like it's cursed to endure. He numbs his emotions again, telling himself this nightmare will end someday. Until one night, everything changes. He wakes up in a strange, dark place, staring an unconscious man at his feet. Suddenly, a crowd surrounds him. Fighters, bets, cash raining from the sky. A blond man steps forward, grinning, offering Ian a pile of money if he wins. Ian's eyes lock on the bills. He's tempted, confused, desperate. But does he fight or walk away? And just like that, Ian's life is about to collide with something far more dangerous than debt. Ian's eyes lock onto the bundle of cash, like it's the cure for every debt in his life. The blond man taunts him, insisting money only comes with fists. Ian hesitates, but then remembers his boss once cutting his already pathetic paycheck, saying he should just be grateful. Yeah, thanks, boss. Really helpful. That memory tips the scales. Ian snatches the cash, and the crowd laughs at how quickly he sold his soul. The fight begins. 5 minutes, no rules, anything goes. His opponent, a green-haired fighter, comes swinging. Ian ducks the first punch, blocks the next kick, and even surprises himself with how sharp his reflexes are. But instead of counterattacking, he just absorbs hit after hit. The crowd gets restless. Why isn't he fighting back? Ian stands stoic, eyes empty, as if he's done this all his life. Kind of like sitting through a 3-hour lecture with no snacks. The fighter grows frustrated, shouting at Ian to hit back. Finally, Ian grabs his wrist mid-strike, locking eyes with him. But when the kicks and knees land, Ian's face is bruised, bloodied, yet he doesn't collapse. Memories flood back, his father's drunken rage, doctors explaining his strange condition, how his body can't process pain like others. A childhood of silence and empty eyes. His father ignored treatments, too busy counting money. Parent of the Year award, right there. Back in the ring, Ian doubles over after a brutal hit, clutching his stomach. But then something changes. He remembers a counselor asking if he could breathe when life felt too heavy. Ian's answer? He just stops. And now, in the fight, he realizes even without breath, sleep, or rest, his body just won't quit. His eyes sharpen. He's ready to strike. The green-haired fighter charges, thinking Ian's finished. But Ian suddenly unleashes a storm of punches, faster, harder, relentless. Each blow shocks the crowd, who wonder if he's been pretending all along. His opponent scrambles to defend, but Ian only gets stronger, faster. With a final move, Ian ducks under a desperate swing and launches an uppercut that sends the man crashing to the ground. The arena falls silent. Ian stands, bruised but unbroken, towering over his fallen opponent. Not bad for a guy who was supposed to be an easy payday. And just like that, Ian isn't just another desperate kid anymore. He's something far more dangerous. The crowd that bet against Ian erupts, throwing cash in frustration. Meanwhile, Ian just stands in the ring, bloodied but victorious, staring down at his bruised knuckles like he's checking if they're still attached. The ground is littered with money, basically payday confetti. If only rent worked like this. One lucky spectator celebrates, demanding his payout, while the blonde man, clearly salty, keeps his eyes glued on Ian. Ian ignores the noise, kneeling down to collect the scattered bills. The blonde approaches, asking his name, complimenting his skills. Ian doesn't even look up, just keeps scooping cash. Cold. Honestly, same energy as ignoring small talk at the gym. But not everyone's letting it slide. The defeated fighter staggers up, furious. He claims the fight doesn't count, grabs a heavy metal pipe, and charges Ian like he's about to settle things street style. Ian casually snatches the weapon mid-swing, barehanded. Before it escalates, the blonde's companion steps in, disarms the guy with a brutal kick, and warns him to chill. The blonde complains about fighting outdoors, then grins, saying they've found a promising new player, Ian. He even hands Ian a phone, promising the next location, attendance mandatory. Corporate onboarding, Fight Club edition. Once the group disperses, the companion lingers, asking Ian if he's a college student and why he's so calm. Ian insists it's his first time here, just an accident. The man studies him, then warns, don't show up again if he wants to live. Everyone comes for money, but this place? It's dirtier than it looks. He calls it a trap you can't escape once you're in. Ian agrees, but deep down, both know the hook is already set. Like downloading one free mobile game, and then goodbye paycheck. Left alone, Ian wanders through the night. He feels like he just woke from a dream, fought a stranger, made more in minutes than he usually makes all day. But the bruises remind him it's real. He pushes it down, the way he always does, and keeps walking. At a convenience store, the clerk recognizes him, concern flashing across her face as he silently buys water. Ian doesn't engage. He's already back in survival mode. At home, his father greets him with anger for disappearing all day. Ian calmly drops his bank book and cash on the desk. The money shuts his father up instantly, who snatches it and walks away to his room. Ian slumps to the floor in silence. For a rare moment, the house is quiet, peaceful. He closes his eyes, finally resting. Cue 5 seconds of bliss before life ruins it. A phone buzz cuts through the comm. It's his part-time job calling. And just like that, Ian is back at the parcel service, stacking boxes on autopilot, his face blank. Days blur. Then the scene shifts, a bright university campus. Students chat in lecture halls, gossiping about a mysterious classmate who never shows up to events. No one knows him, until one girl quietly reveals the name. Ian. In class, students gossip about the mysterious name on the roster. Ian. One girl admits she went to his school, but insists they're not close. Her friend suggests inviting him to their gathering, but she shuts it down, saying he only does what he plans and doesn't care about anyone. Basically, the human version of do not disturb mode. Meanwhile, Ian's boss cancels his shift, car trouble ruining the day's work. Ian sighs, stuck with unexpected free time. What he doesn't know is his boss is under fire too. His own colleagues accuse him of paying Ian while everyone else gets nothing. The boss defends himself, saying he couldn't scam a kid just starting out. Rare sighting. One decent adult. Back in class, the group spots Ian. One guy, Gunsu Park, decides to take initiative and invites him. Ian politely refuses. No plans, no motivation, and most of all, no money. His wallet is emptier than his sleep schedule. Gunsu notices, insists Ian doesn't need to worry about costs, even promising a student council discount. Against all odds, Ian shows up at the party. Miracles do happen. At the restaurant, Gunsu tries to keep things light while Ian quietly eats. But a blonde upperclassman zeroes in, grilling Ian about why he came if he's not drinking. Ian answers calmly that he just doesn't like alcohol, but the guy keeps pushing, pouring him glass after glass. Ian hesitates, then, almost with morbid curiosity, downs it. He wants to understand what his father felt when drowning in liquor. The taste is vile, the memory's worse. Still, the pressure doesn't stop. Peer pressure level, boss fight. The upperclassman gets drunk and aggressive, wondering why Ian looks completely sober. When Ian stands to leave, the guy yanks his sleeve. That's the trigger. Memories of his father's rage twist through his mind, and Ian's face hardens into something cold and human. In a flash, he lifts the upperclassman and slams him down on the table. The entire restaurant freezes. Ian pins him down, striking again and again, voice like ice. Does hitting people after drinking make you feel better? Another blow lands, and the upperclassman realizes this isn't just some quiet classmate. This is something else entirely. And the question now is, how far will Ian go before someone stops him? Ian looms over the battered upperclassman, fists clenched, when Gunsu suddenly rushes in. But before Ian can land another blow, a memory of his father's drunken voice screaming at him rips through his mind. He jolts awake, gasping, in an unfamiliar room. Sitting at a desk is Gunsu, casually scrolling. Turns out, he carried a wasted Ian home. Free Uber, 0 stars. Ian's still foggy, memories of the violent outburst crashing back, but Gunsu steadies him, laughing nervously. Later, with a mug of water in hand, Ian catches his reflection. Only, it twists into his father's face, clutching a bottle. He grips his mouth, sick. Gunsu points him to the bathroom, apologizing for not stepping in sooner. Ian thanks him but insists on leaving, because, somehow, he's late for work. At 1 a.m., after drinking, Gunsu is stunned. Ian? Totally fine. Not even a hangover. The man's immune system deserves a Marvel cameo. As he ties his shoes, Ian quietly notes how nice it must be to live alone. Gunsu laughs about chores, joking he's broke too, except, of course, his parents foot the bill. Ian's silence says everything. 2 worlds, 1 apartment. He thanks Gunsu and slips out, leaving behind a thoughtful smile on his new friend's face. The next day, whispers spread across campus about the fight. In chemistry lab, the girls speculate who their teaching assistant will be. The door opens, bandaged blonde upperclassman. Yep, that guy. The air thickens as Ian walks in, their eyes locking. Silent tension, like the lab's about to explode. The blonde glares, Ian ignores, goggles on, back to business. Science first, grudges later. After class, students whisper about the standoff, while Ian drifts through the cafeteria alone. But Sun suddenly sits across from him, tray in hand. She reminds him of their shared history. Same building, same schools, even seatmates once. Ian looks up, actually surprised, as if hearing it for the first time. She's frustrated, remembering years of him distant, lost in his own world. She thinks he's forgotten everything. Defeated, she starts to leave, until Ian speaks. He calls her by name, says he remembers it all. He just doesn't show it. Sun freezes, stunned, as a quiet smile spreads across her face. She sits back down, finally able to eat with him. But the question lingers. If Ian remembers everything, why did he pretend not to? The stack of graded lab reports gets passed around, and Hannah nearly faints when she sees Gunsu flexing an A+. Then she leans over to Ian, only to find a giant red C stamped on his paper. C for could have been worse. But before Ian can even process it, Sun snatches the report from his hands and marches straight out like she owns the place. She storms to another TA, who confirms it's flawless. Under her glare, the blonde TA begrudgingly changes the grade, every stroke of his pen screaming pure annoyance. Outside, the squad calls it what it is: pathetic revenge. Hannah, cheeks pink but brave, tells Ian to let them know next time someone tries that. Then, out of nowhere, she blurts out an invite to eat together. Gunsa teases her about having a crush. She nearly murders him on the spot. HR violation. But Ian shoots down every attempt. Tomorrow, the day after, weekend, even break. All work, no play. Hannah looks like her soul just left her body until she yells, desperate, "Lunch tomorrow at school." Silence. Then Ian, calm as ever, agrees. Everyone freezes. Sun watches quietly, her eyes unreadable. On the bus ride home, she nudges Ian, saying Hannah might like him. He's baffled, insists he's done nothing. Maybe it's just his looks? He even asks what he looks like, dead serious. Sun laughs and tells him to check a mirror. Ian falls silent, haunted by ghostly distortions of his own face. He mutters that sometimes he sees something else looking back. Therapy, aisle 3. The conversation shifts. Sun asks if Hannah's pretty. Ian dodges the question like a pro until finally admitting he's never thought about stuff like that. The bus stops, he's off to another shift, and Sun is left thinking. Even in college, Ian hasn't changed at all. Cut to a construction site, sparks flying, Ian working alongside his father. For the first time in ages, his dad notices a smile on Ian's face. But that brief warmth doesn't last. That night, Ian opens the door to his apartment and freezes. The loan sharks are back. His father's beaten, pinned down. Ian insists he already paid them, naming the exact amount. But the blonde thug waves his father's empty bank book. Gambling. Every cent gone. The cycle repeats, just like always. Hope crushed under the same despair. Ian sees himself climbing an endless cliff into a black void. No end, no light. Only the cold ring of his burner phone. A new fight notice flashes across the screen. His expression hardens, eyes glowing like steel. He arrives at the next underground arena. The blonde man and his companion wait, as inside, a red-haired fighter tears his opponent apart. Ian steps into the doorway. Calm, cold, ready, and announces his arrival. But will this next match push him even deeper into the darkness? The underground crowd is losing their minds as fighters cycle through the ring. The blonde ringleader jokes about Ian being late, while his companion scoffs, saying he knew the kid wouldn't show. And just when the blonde insists he'll appear, the door creaks open, but it's not Ian. Instead, in struts a muscular redhead with a scarred grin, carrying a briefcase. The crowd freezes. This guy's infamous, banned for killing someone mid-fight. HR would not approve. The companion snarls, demanding he leave, but the redhead shrugs it off like yesterday's news. He cracks open the briefcase, tossing a storm of cash into the air. Bills rain down, and the crowd instantly forgets morals. They chant for blood. The green-haired fighter from earlier steps up, fists ready. But the companion warns him. This man isn't here to fight, he's here to hurt. The redhead lunges, smashing a devastating punch into his opponent, the sound echoing through the warehouse. The crowd goes feral. The companion wants to step in, but the blonde warns him. Interfere, and the mob turns on you. Meanwhile, the redhead throws the dazed fighter like trash, soaking in the cheers. Then, the door opens again. Ian steps through, shadow cutting across his face. The redhead freezes mid-celebration. The blonde's eyes light up, wrapping an arm around Ian, proudly presenting him as his new discovery. The crowd whispers, "This is that kid from the outdoor match." The redhead, hungry, tosses aside his last opponent like a broken toy and locks eyes with Ian. The air grows thick. He declares round 2 starts now. The crowd explodes with excitement. Popcorn moment. He charges, stomping the floor so hard money scatters. His fist slams into Ian's jaw with bone-cracking force. An X-ray shot shows the brutal impact, but Ian doesn't even flinch. No wince, no reaction. Just cold silence. The redhead's grin twitches. He screams, desperate for the look of pain he always craves. But Ian just stands there, expressionless, before swinging back with a brutal counterstrike. The crowd gasps. The predator finally met prey that doesn't fear him. But the question is, can Ian break a monster who lives for pain? The crowd erupts as the red-haired man stumbles back, blood dripping from his lip. For a second, he looks shocked, then bursts into a manic laugh, loving every second. Therapist's dream client. He charges again, but Ian plants a clean shot to his gut. The guy grins wider like pain is dessert. Ian doesn't flinch, his face colder than stone. Another punch to the jaw sends the redhead stumbling, spitting blood, screaming at Ian. What are you? Why don't you feel pain? Ian stays silent. Inside, though, he realizes something terrifying. His sense of pain hasn't just dulled, it's gone. Completely. And he has no idea why. They trade blow after blow, a brutal flurry shaking the ring. Ian dodges, adapts, learns his opponent's rhythm. A sneaky uppercut cracks his head back, but he doesn't fold. His eyes glaze white with focus, steam rising off his body as if he's burning up from the inside. Built-in sauna mode. The redhead clamps a hand around Ian's throat, smirking that he's weaker than expected. He shoves Ian back, only to freeze when Ian steadies himself instantly, bloodied, but eyes steady and unbroken. Then Ian unleashes. A barrage of punches crashes into the redhead's face, relentless, unstoppable. The beast is staggered, dropped to his knees, groaning that he's losing his mind. Ian thinks the same. He can't hold back anymore. In desperation, the redhead lunges, locking a vicious choke around Ian's neck. He squeezes with everything he's got, veins bulging, screaming for Ian to die. Ian goes limp in his arms. The psycho laughs, victory. But before he can celebrate, the companion storms in, kicking him across the room. He snarls at the redhead. Was he really trying to kill again? The answer? Yes. With zero shame. The crowd gasps as Ian, battered but unshaken, stands right back up. Even the redhead can't believe it. The companion yanks Ian out, declaring the match over. Left behind, the red-haired man sits on the floor, panting, bloodied, and obsessed. His heart pounds erratically, replaying the blank look on Ian's unconscious face. What started as a fight is now something darker, an obsession that might spiral out of control. Because for the first time, he's found someone who didn't break. He leaves bloodied but unbroken. The one fighter who won't fall, won't feel pain. That kind of strength doesn't end fights, it creates obsessions. So, do like and subscribe, and don't miss the next part because this is only the beginning.